The Arctic is a vast, white wilderness where silence is often the loudest sound. But today, that silence is shattered by the roar of a brutal snowstorm. The wind howls like a wild beast, whipping ice crystals across the barren landscape. Temperatures plummet below freezing, visibility drops to near zero, and the world feels like it's been swallowed by white fury. In the heart of this storm, a lone figure moves against the wind, a pregnant polar bear, her massive form hunched, struggling with each step. Her thick fur is crusted with snow, and her breaths come in ragged puffs of steam. She's not just fighting the storm, she's fighting time. Because deep within her womb, life is about to enter one of the harshest environments on Earth. In a world where survival is already a battle, a mother faces an even greater challenge. She's about to bring new life into a land where the cold doesn't forgive, and the wind shows no mercy. The polar bear stumbles through knee-deep snow, her instincts driving her forward despite exhaustion. She knows she needs shelter. Now, the storm isn't just a threat to her, but to the fragile life inside her. If she doesn't find a safe place soon, both she and her unborn cub could be lost to the Arctic's merciless grip. With determination etched into every movement, she begins to dig. Using her massive paws like shovels, she carves into the snowdrift, creating a small depression. But that's not enough. The den must be deep enough to protect her from the wind and insulated enough to keep her newborn warm. She digs for hours, ignoring the burning in her muscles, driven by the most powerful force in nature, a mother's love. She's not just digging a den. She's digging a lifeline, a fragile pocket of warmth carved out of ice and desperation. Inside the small den, the storm's roar fades slightly. Muffled by layers of snow and ice, the polar bear curls into the cramped space, her body trembling from both exhaustion and the onset of labor. The den is dim, lit only by faint, filtered light seeping through the snow above. She groans softly, her breath fogging in the cold air as contractions ripple through her body. Hours pass. The storm outside rages on, indifferent to the fragile miracle unfolding within. Then, finally, a tiny, pink, squirming cub emerges, no bigger than a guinea pig, blind, helpless, and vulnerable. In a world frozen by ice and ruled by survival, life has found a way. A new heartbeat, fragile and fierce, begins its first rhythm against impossible odds. The mother wastes no time. Instinct kicks in. She licks the cub vigorously, her rough tongue removing the birth sac, stimulating its first breaths and spreading warmth through its tiny body. The cub's faint cries are barely audible over the muffled storm, a soft, trembling sound of life clinging to existence. The cub nestles against its mother's thick fur, seeking warmth. Despite her exhaustion, the polar bear stays alert, her massive body curled protectively around her newborn. She hasn't eaten in days, and her energy is fading, but her cub comes first. For the mother, rest is a luxury she can't afford. The cold doesn't wait, hunger doesn't pause, and the storm doesn't care. But none of that matters, not when her cub's fragile life depends on her strength. Outside, the blizzard shows no sign of stopping. Inside the den, however, warmth blooms. Not from the ice, not from the environment, but from the unbreakable bond between mother and child. Their heartbeats sync, a silent promise whispered in the dark. I will protect you. Days pass. The storm finally weakens, leaving behind a world buried under fresh snow. The polar bear's hunger gnaws at her. She knows she can't survive much longer without food, and neither can her cub, who depends entirely on her milk. She faces an impossible choice: stay and risk starvation, or leave and risk her cub's safety. She chooses both. Every step she takes is a gamble. The ice beneath her could crack. Prey could be scarce, but failure isn't an option. She's not just hunting for herself, she's hunting for her cub's future. The camera follows the polar bear as she navigates the treacherous ice, scanning the horizon for signs of seals, the lifeblood of her survival. The Arctic Ocean is a deceptive place, with hidden cracks, shifting ice sheets, and freezing waters that can claim lives in an instant. She spots a seal breathing hole. She waits, motionless, patient, blending into the snow. Minutes turn into hours. Then, a slight ripple. A seal surfaces for air. In a flash, the polar bear strikes, her powerful paws breaking through the ice, snatching the seal with lethal precision. Blood stains the white snow, a harsh, necessary contrast to the purity of the landscape. She eats quickly, replenishing the strength she'll need to return to her cub. Survival in the Arctic isn't beautiful, it's brutal. But in every struggle, in every drop of blood spilled, there's a story of life fighting to endure. Asterisk, with her belly full, the polar bear wastes no time. She races back to the den, her heart pounding with both urgency and fear. Is her cub okay? Did the cold seep in while she was gone? She reaches the snow-covered mound and digs frantically, her powerful claws tearing through the frozen barrier she'd built. Finally, she reaches the small, shivering cub, its faint cries like music to her ears. She scoops it up gently, pressing it against her chest, nuzzling it with relief. She left to survive. She returned to protect. In her embrace, warmth flows again, not just from her body, but from the unspoken promise renewed with every heartbeat. I am here. Weeks pass. The cub grows stronger, its fur thickening, its tiny eyes opening to a world still harsh, but filled with the safety of its mother's presence. They play in the snow, the cub stumbling clumsily, learning to walk, to wrestle, to be wild. The mother watches with pride and fierce protectiveness. Every step her cub takes is a victory, a testament to her struggle, her sacrifices, her strength. In a land where life is fragile, love is unbreakable. Every playful leap, every soft nuzzle is proof that even in the coldest corners of the earth, warmth thrives. But their story isn't just one of survival. It's a reminder, a fragile heartbeat in the vast silence, that the Arctic is changing. The ice is melting faster than ever, storms are growing fiercer, and the world these polar bears call home is disappearing. We can't control the storms, but we can fight to protect the world these mothers and cubs depend on, support conservation, fight climate change, because every heartbeat in the Arctic matters. Subscribe for more stories of hope and survival. Together, we can protect the wild,